that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Hope that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Squad underestimated, finally won his first shit. They put the work and made some trades, yeah, that was good shit. But don't get comfortable, the league is filled with champions. Don't sleep on your opponent, better stay away from ambience. We back again, another year of PPL. Back to talk smack again, we treat it like the NFL. Time to stack your rosters up and build your best to never fail. By week 6 we take advantage, if you're weak cause we could tell. You better bring your A game, be solid like an A-frame. A new year but the same thing, you better be ready to bang bang. It's showtime, PPL Live is ready to go. Gino the Jet will let you know we won't be easy, that's for sure. When the pass smacking bones crack, yeah, you gotta love that. Glad it's back, PPL is running back. Live shows speak the facts, analyze and talk the trash. Play the game to win the cash, never try to end the blast. Hope that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Hope that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. PPL Live.
PPL Live, here we are, week 13. Welcome back to PPL Live. I hope everybody had themselves a nice, safe, and happy Thanksgiving. Gino the Gent here with my man Ulysses S8. Give him what's up, Ulysses.
What's up, PPL?
We here, we ready to go. Get here for the back end, ready to get ready for those playoffs. Before we get to the playoffs and before we get into week 13, you know we got to take an eye back to our turkey tussles. Starting with squad underestimated, leaving no doubt, getting back into that race in alpha. One win away from the playoffs, 170 to the Argonauts 105. Only for the boss, back on track, 146 to United Players 84. Perhaps the death knell, appease the god, stays alive. Huge win in the Omega Conference, 126 to the first place GAFF Attacks 110. The Baby Gas team gets it done, 92 to Trey Fitty's 61. And the Skulls, in a huge Omega Conference showdown, set themselves up for a chance at the Omega title, 145 to Patty's Twins 115. Man, great weeks of PPL Live. Week 12 and week 11 and week 12 were some great weeks, man. What stood out to you the most over the last 2 weeks?
It's been changing for playoff relevance here. I mean, we only have one team that's technically eliminated. I guess you could say two that are basically on ice, and to be this close, I mean, I'm excited to see what we're about to get.
No, man, definitely, man. It's one of the times of the year where, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, what's it going to be, but hey, let's get into it. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. We don't know what it's going to be coming up, Ulysses, but we know what it was, man. Let me hear you. Let me get your good, bad, and ugly for week 12, our turkey tussles.
Yeah, I mean, it's you just hit on it, man. It's got to be the Skulls' hottest team in the PPL.
Yeah.
So 4 straight. I mean, these guys were done, dead in the water. We were beating on them, right? We were beating this horse, 2-6. Now 6-6, coming off of a very convincing win over the Twins.
Right.
I love what I saw here. Josh Allen, in a loss, played really well. The only guy that really didn't launch was Cade Otton, but hell, he outplayed his projection.
Right.
What hurt here, Lions, but what I really like to see from this guy is he went away from the Bills coach.
Definitely.
You're already all in with Josh Allen and the Bills. You went out there and hell, I thought it was a riskier coach call, the Titans against Carolina, but hey, got that win, and again is in prime position and is going to be fighting for Omega Division aspirations this
Right.
week, it was a great week for the Skulls.
No, man, definitely, man. I agree with you on that. The Skulls put themselves in prime position to win that Omega Conference title. Zay Flowers blowing up in a huge way on Sunday night. Josh Allen with a 42-point dominant effort, and Ramondre getting done. Nah, great week for the Skulls, man. What's your bet?
My bad was the GAFF.
Mm.
This is 2 weeks straight that he could have clinched a playoff position and
Yeah.
really locked away an Omega title shot. The fact that he just wasn't able to get it done, and I mean, again, it started with the coach
Yeah.
Thursday, and
against two teams you know he wanted to get, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, CD had a relatively quiet day for CD. DK really didn't get anywhere, and again, AJ had a quieter game for the stat line that Jalen Hurts put out there.
Right.
And so I just think it was a bad week. And again, with Kenneth Walker being out, he's not at the same strength as he has been.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it showed this week. And so just a bad week. And I think the GAF can get right. But trust, he's smart after these last 2 losses.
No, definitely, man. Definitely. The GAF was sitting pretty at one point. Lost the prestige matchup of the week to the ARGO the week before. Lost a crucial Omega Conference game to ATG that could have clinched the conference for them. I mean, just in a real bad way right now. And they need to get right against the Skulls, man. Let's hear your ugly.
Yeah, my ugly is the UP. I mean,
of course,
they effectively eliminated themselves from playoff contention. And,
right.
And I'm not saying that they had a lineup to even really compete with the boss. But when I look at what's going on here, it's just lineup laziness. I mean, he's not in a position to bench a coach, especially with the Chiefs playing a Vegas team.
Right.
But again, has been doing all right, but I mean, again, they're not as talented as the Chiefs, especially offensively. And when I look at this, I was like, okay, well, he's been setting his lineups late. And when I look at this, he's got 4 Houston Texans in this game. Jonathan Singletary, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Texans D. I mean, I get it. CJ is good, but man, this was a lot of eggs in one basket. And with an offense that's just not as prolific. You can get away with this with Kansas City, but you're pushing it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like how he performed down the stretch. He really had a more talented lineup this season than I thought he initially had. And I just think he mismanaged it, including this week. It's been an ugly season for the UP. Hopefully they can get right and try to get this going. They have enough fundamental pieces to do so.
All right, man. I'm gonna agree with you on that, man. It's gotten ugly for the United players. Man, my good man. I got to go with appease the gods here, man. Really fighting and scrapping to try to get that last playoff spot. Love what I'm seeing from Bijan. Love the season that Raheem's actually stayed healthy this year, and it's been to the benefit of appease the gods. DJ Moore showing why he was traded for in the offseason. Him and Bijan came up huge for ATG in a crucial moment. 2 guys that he acquired early in the season. So hats off to Pate's algorithm for finding a way to keep them in the hunt here. And I don't even think that Lamar having a bye week coming up this week is going to really hurt them that much, just based on the production that they can get from the plethora of positions. I just like where ATG's at right now, and I think they have a real good chance of sneaking into the playoffs. So they were my good. My bad, bro. I gotta go. I gotta go here, man. It's Patty's twins. JT is out, thumb surgery. I mean, a bad week after the loss to the Skulls, a matchup that they were projected to win, a matchup that I think that they expected to win. Things just never got started. Keenan Allen's fumbling the football. Austin Eckler's fumbling the football. Jonathan Taylor, who was the only breadwinner that got over 21 points, is not going to be in the lineup. And so things are getting bad for the Twins at the wrong time in the season. This was a matchup that could have really helped them put the Skulls down and pick them up into playoff contention. Now they're scrambling for a wild card spot, much like last season. And things don't get easy with that JT injury. So that's going to be my bad. And my ugly, man, I'm with you, man. It's the United players. What are you doing? Nico Collins. I love Nico. I think that he's a great lineup play. But Isaiah Pacheco needs to be in that lineup. They've got some other guys that need to be in that lineup. It just doesn't make any sense. Devin Singletary did give them a good week off of free agency. But sometimes you got to just move on from that. And the reason that they're so ugly is because they had beat the GAFF attack a few weeks ago in a big-time matchup to keep their Omega Conference titles or hopes alive. We thought that they had a chance of defending the Omega title. And they just have done nothing with that opportunity. And I'm not just talking about this week. I'm talking about last week. Poor performances, and it caught up to them. And I'm with you, man. They're out. And so a season that looked like they could salvage. They had some talent. They had some pieces. I don't think that it's salvageable at this point. I think it's over. And the United players wrap up an ugly campaign. Just in a funk and in a bad situation. We'll see how they bounce back in the future, if they bounce back in the future. But with that being said, like I say all the time, what's past is prologue. It's time to move on in the PPL. And we start in the Alpha Conference in a big matchup for the Alpha Conference. We have I Need About Trey Fitty taking on the Argonauts. All right, man, big win in the Alpha Conference for the Argonauts. They win this matchup. They wrap up the Alpha Conference title. Trey Fitty coming into this matchup have been tanking the last few weeks. Looks like they got a competent lineup on deck. The Argonauts, for their side, need to bounce back after the loss to Squad Underestimated. They could have clinched Alpha last week. Got another chance to do it this week. What do you think of this matchup? Argonauts and I Need About Trey Fitty.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty astonishing to me that the Argonauts are in this position given the injuries and just what's really unfolded with their lineup.
Yeah.
They've been able to get in a position, and honestly, I think that they are my lock of the week. I think, Trey Fitty, I think, is in tank mode. He is actually setting a lineup this week.
Yeah.
But I just don't like CJ this weekend against Denver. Denver's actually kind of come on and taking place of ball.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a much more challenging game.
Yeah.
I just don't think it looks as good on this side. Jalen Waddle and company, I think Miami's gonna be in for something. Someone's telling me that Washington game is gonna get a little dicey. Okay. And then Travis Etienne and company, I think they should have a field day. That's an area that I think he's looking great. But again, we'll see how serious he is if he ends up picking up the defense. Right now, he's got Ravens on a bye.
Right.
I don't think he moves it. He's going Commanders against Miami, which, again, I think could be highly competitive. The win, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Other side, Argos, Justin Herbert against New England. Let's see what Bill Belichick can draw up. But,
yeah.
That offense in New England is going to turn the ball over and give Justin Herbert and company, I think, a bounce-back kind of game.
Right.
Najee's in a good position. Calvin Ridley has shown that he can be highly productive if he's given the appropriate attention. And the Cowboys D and head coach has been, money in the bank. And so I've got a lock of the week performance from the Argos. I've got them going 131 to Trey Fitty's 88.
I don't know if the Argonauts like being your lock of the week, man. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that they probably should get this. This will clinch them, I think, their 9th Alpha Conference title, which is clearly unprecedented. But I'm looking at a few openings that there would be for Trey Fitty if they were to get a defense in. I don't know about the Commanders coach, though. I think, are you tanking or not? Because if you are tanking, why even pick up another coach? And to pick up the Commanders coach is almost like you want them to lose. It's kind of a weird place that Trey Fitty's in. Maybe they're responding to what the Pantheon Cup champions have to say on the board this week. Fascinating post, as you said. I've heard others around the league found it very entertaining. But back on this matchup, I think that in the end of the day, if things stay as they are, this could actually be a pretty competitive matchup just based on the fact that I like Waddle at Washington, and I do like Garrett Wilson against that Falcons secondary. Even though Boyle's looking terrible. Now on the Argonaut side, Cooper Kupp is not he's not looking like the same guy anymore. They almost got to play Cooper just based on the fact that other guys are on the bye or injured. Tony Pollard finally got into the house. That was a welcome sight for the Argonauts, but nothing much else materialized. Calvin Ridley the last 2 weeks has been productive, but he's been doing it on limited targets. You're right. Trevor Lawrence just seems to have an aversion to kind of, being consistent going to this guy. I do like Dallas against Seattle, but Seattle's capable of an upset. At the end of the day, I think Trey Fitty's capable of winning this matchup. But and this Argonaut team isn't one of the higher scoring teams that they've had. Like you said, they've kind of spitballed this team together, but they've held it together to be in this position. At the end of the day, I'm going to go with the Argonauts to get this matchup 121 to Trey Fitty's 108. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a huge interconference matchup, one with huge wild card implications in it. Seasons on the line, perhaps, in this matchup. A big one for both these teams. Appease the gods of the Omega Conference, taking on Squad Underestimated, the defending Pantheon Cup champs. All right, man, so we got Squad and ATG. No Lamar in the lineup. Squad, obviously, the last 2 weeks has left no doubt with 170-plus point performances. They're looking unstoppable right now. That lineup is locked, stocked, and ready to go, man. What do you think of this matchup? Squad Underestimated ATG.
Yeah, I mean, I have Squad coming back to earth this week.
Okay.
And I do, again, the more I think about this, the more I think that Washington is primed to get this matchup. And I think it's going to ultimately come down to it being in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm looking at the weather forecast, it's supposed to be a potentially cold and wet, rainy kind of day.
Okay.
And so I think that factors a little bit better for their type of ball.
Right.
I think that impacts Tyreek, but I mean, again, Dak has been a guy that he picked up in free on the waiver about a month ago, and he's been performing exceptionally well. Again, opportunity to get at them. They haven't lost at home in an unprecedented time. I think it's like 15 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Again, when you get to those streaks, again, they're ready to be snapped.
Right.
Christian McCaffrey, I expect him to have a good game, but Philadelphia's got a very good front line, and I think that game's going to be really hard fought. Again, whenever I look at Bucks and Carolina, you never know on a coaching change. Carolina might come out. So I think that Squad definitely has the upper hand. Appease the gods missing key pieces here.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews on the Lamar Jackson, DJ Moore. But you said it earlier. I think he did draft and has been working the waiver to get competent guys and options. I mean, ATG hasn't really struggled for production. It's more so who's going to be the guy.
Right.
Maybe he hasn't been good finding that. But this week, I've got him looking well. I mean, Russell Wilson, I think, is going to come in this game, and he might take the spot from Lamar if he shines in this game.
Okay.
Robinson Jr. with Washington, he's been a very quiet guy, fifth ranked in fantasy at the position right now.
Yeah.
He's shown to be a guy that Howell really likes to get the ball to, whether he's handing it off or passing. Bijan, they finally give him some volume.
Yeah.
Again, San Francisco, Devonta. Michael Pittman's getting so many looks from Uncle Rico out in Indiana. But again, you get down to the Chiefs playing against Jordan Love and company. I like that matchup. He's been better as of late, but I think that they can get at him. And I like the Jags coach on Monday night. I think that ATG actually gets this one in the squeaker. I think this was, a prestige potential matchup, and I think both these owners are going to be coming for this.
Yeah. But
I've got to appease the gods winning this one in a close one.
Okay.
129 to 124.
All right. I think I'm going to go the other way, man. I think Squad Underestimated. The way they're scoring, man, right now, it's going to be, I mean, even if they come back down to earth, to come back down to earth from 170 is like 136, 137, 135. So I think that they're on a hot streak right now. Dak's got a good matchup. I think Alvin Kamara's got room to get loose because he's going to get some dump offs. They're going to be playing from behind. Christian McCaffrey's going to get his, and I think Tyreek Hill. They're on a mission to get him to 2,000 yards. Brandon Ayuk's going to get his because the Eagles can't cover anybody, and Sam Laporte is a guy that they should have had in their lineup last week. I'm looking at ATG side, man. I like Russell Wilson in this spot start, actually. And I do like ATG's lineup. I do like their chances in this matchup. The only problem that I'm having right now is Logan Thomas at tight end. If that game is going to be rainy and wet, he's not the guy I want at the tight end position. I think I would rather go with Freiermuth. I mean, that guy was really getting fed, and I think that that's a move that ATG is going to probably need to make. David Montgomery's also a guy that wouldn't hurt to have in that lineup if he's able to go, because, I mean, he's a huge part of what Detroit identity is. They like Jahmyr Gibbs because he's a flashier guy, but David Montgomery gets down in that dirt, and he's the kind of guy that Dan Campbell likes. So I expect that if he can go, ATG goes with him. But at the end of the day, the way squad is scoring, I think it's still going to be a little too much. I think the Dolphins are on a mission to try to get that number 1 seed, and they know that they're going to need it to have a real chance of winning the Super Bowl or getting to the Super Bowl. So they're going to really try to button up games like this one at Washington. So at the end of the day, I got squad underestimated getting by in this matchup. I think it's going to be a good one. Prestige matchup-esque. But not quite. I got squad underestimated getting this one 134 to ATG's 127. And moving on to the next matchup, we go into another Alpha Conference game, a clinching scenario potentially for another team. We got Only for the Boss taking on the Baby Gas team. All right, man, so the Baby Gas team has raised the ire of the PPL champions. They have no interest, it looks like, in setting their lineup. Josh Jacob is on the bye. Joe Burrow is on IR. Only for the Boss is still in the hunt for that Alpha Conference championship, trying to defend their Alpha Conference title. Who do you think of this matchup, man? BGT Boss.
It's very fitting for me that BGT has Deontay Johnson on their lineup because they're just walking away. It ain't there. I mean, again, if this game was competitive at all, I'd call it. But, I mean, this is going to be a cakewalk for Only for the Boss.
I think this should be a lock of the week, personally. But
well, no, I mean, it would be if I thought that the BGT has even looked at their lineup. I don't think they've logged into ESPN for weeks at this point. So I'm going to say that at least Trey Fitty's setting lineups. I mean, heck, he's picking up the Commanders coach. Right. And so Only for the Boss is going to coast here. Mahomes and company are playing a very beatable Green Bay team.
Yeah.
Zach Moss, I mean, that would have, I mean, you never like to see a guy hurt, but with Jonathan Taylor going down, I mean, and they just paid him, trust that they're going to put Moss out there so they can run the wheels off this and, again, get this guy sold to the highest bidder.
Right.
Tank Dell has been a fine pickup and has really excelled for CJ. Again, this is easy money, and Only for the Boss is keeping the pressure on the Argos and trying to get at it. But I think that they take care of business here, and I'm going to say 120 to BGT 66.
I mean, is there really much more to say here? I mean, I agree with you. I mean, they're probably not going to set their lineup. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. I mean, the Boss does have Stephon Diggs on a bye, but I'm sure he will probably end up getting a guy like Christian Watson in the lineup for that Sunday night game, or even going with Royce Freeman. I don't know, but they'll go with somebody there, maybe Kareem Hunt. On the BGT, I mean, what are we talking about? I got Only for the Boss getting this matchup 138 to the BGT 67. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a big Omega Conference game, eliminator, so to speak. The loser of this matchup is done. What do you think of this one, man? United play as the Destroyers going up against the limping, reeling Patty's Twins.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Jonathan Taylor's injury really impacted them. They do not have the type of running back depth. You know how I can tell? They've got A.J. Dillon in the lineup.
Right.
It's not good.
I mean, he is the starting RB right now, ain't he?
Well, no, he's a starting RB, but again, he's starting RB for Green Bay. And again, I understand why she's going there. I mean, beggars can't be choosers at this point.
Right.
But again, trust that injury was something that you I mean, with him not being in most of the season, she was really banking on Jonathan Taylor being available to her down this stretch and into the playoffs.
Right.
Now she's fighting to get to those playoffs. But again, she's getting gifted a matchup against the UP, who absolutely has a lineup that can beat her right now.
Right.
The fact is he going to set that lineup? Probably not. Is she going to face 4 Houston Texans this week? Probably. He should get the Eagles coach in. I mean, hey, if you're going to do this, do this. She's Rockin' 49ers coach. You got Billy coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's going one way or the other, yeah.
Yeah, go there. She's really, I think, in a vulnerable position, and I think if this owner was more attentive, he would set a lineup that could do it. When I look at the lineup, I think that again, I think Isaiah Pacheco needs to be in the game.
Yeah,
I think the Eagles coach needs to be in the game, and again, I think that he could probably go with Jonnu Smith against
it seems like he gets more targets out there than
Pitts
does. Yeah.
So I'm just saying he could do some stuff with this lineup. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
I think the Twins absolutely have their best lineup set right now. They're going to be without Jordan Addison, who's definitely had the volume.
Yeah.
But again, brought Taysom Hill back, Amon-Ra, Keenan Allen. I mean, these guys should have really good games. And I like the Steelers D against Arizona. I mean, they haven't really shown that they can do much. And that Steelers D is built for fantasy production. So I've got the Twins in a game that's going to be close and stressful for them.
Okay.
And the UP is going to make it that way. I think they beat them big earlier this season. But I've got the Twins getting this one 117 to the UP's 114.
Okay. This is a tough one, man. I think the UP has a really, really good chance of winning this matchup and sending the Twins home for a long win.
I'm smelling it too, man.
Yeah, sending them home for a long winner's nap, man. I'm looking at the Niners against the Eagles. Brock Purdy, do I think he can have a big game? Yes, but it'll be more of hoping that he'll have a big game than thinking he'll have a big game or expecting him to have a big game. They're at Philadelphia. She's doubling down with that Niners coach. If things go awry there, that could be the matchup itself, man.
Sure.
I'm looking at Keenan Allen at New England, Austin Eckler at New England. They look shell-shocked at home against Baltimore in a primetime matchup that they needed to play their best in. And, I mean, they both turned the ball over in the plus side of the field, really hurt their own team in a matchup that was very winnable. Lamar was not letting the Ravens run away with that matchup, and the Chargers were just sticking around in it, and their best guys were letting them down. And Patty's Twins' best guys were letting them down at the same time. I like Amon-Ra against the New Orleans Saints, but I'm sure he's going to draw our boy from the Saints, number 23. His name is escaping me right now, but he's a great cover corner. I do like Taysom Hill at tight end. But the reason I think that the United players got a good shot is because I think Tua's on a mission. They're throwing the ball all over the place. Derrick Henry plays very well against the AFC South. I think if he gets Isaiah Pacheco in that lineup, it could be fireworks. And I think that even Tyler Lockett tomorrow night against Dallas wouldn't be a bad play. That Eagles coach is screaming to get in along with that Falcons D. I mean, he's got all the pieces already on the team. He doesn't even need to go into free agency to win this matchup. If he does what he's supposed to do, I think that he gets the win. I say he does. I say Sunday morning he sets the lineup and shocks Patty's Twins and eliminates them potentially from having their chance at the playoffs, or at least bolstering their playoff situation, even though they were my ugly this week and I picked them for dead. But looking at this lineup, I got to call an audible. I got the United players in an upset. Getting this matchup 113 to the Twins 108. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. Huge game in the PPL. This game is for the Omega Conference title potentially. It is an eliminator potentially. It is a playoff clincher potentially. So many different outcomes can spring from this matchup. So many seasons can change with this matchup's outcome. A big one in the Omega Conference. Can't get any bigger in the PPL. We got the GAFF attack going up against the Skulls. All right, man, here it is. Pretty much the Omega Conference Championship game. The GAFF attack rolls in with the second highest scoring team in the PPL, led by Jalen Hurts and Jahmyr Gibbs, going up against the Skulls, who will be without their commander, Josh Allen. But they still have Ramondre Stevenson and Jamar Chase. But they're scrapping it together, man. Chris Olave is questionable. Rashad White has been a revelation for them, but they got Chuba Hubbard in the flex, man. It's looking kind of desperate, but the Skulls have fought to get into this situation. What do you think of this one? Skulls, GAFF.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think that this is just a really unfortunate. Like, I love that we're getting at this matchup at this point in the season.
Right.
Really unfortunate with the Bills bye hitting this week.
Right.
I mean, and the Ravens for that, because of how Zay Flowers has come on.
Yeah.
I think, not having Josh Allen, Zay Flowers, Gabe Davis, these are three guys who are in this lineup if they're playing.
Yeah.
And you look at the replacements. I mean, Jared Goff, great quarterback, especially at home. He's playing on the road again in a dome, but that secondary, I think, might be a little disruptive.
And that crowd is very disruptive.
Rah down there.
Right.
Ramondre is really, I mean, he's a great player. He's stifled by how bad the quarterback play is. I mean, everybody who's playing New England knows that.
Yeah.
And Zappy ain't going to be the answer, and it's not going to happen this season.
Okay.
So that certainly limits his ceiling. Rashad White should be a factor. Jamar Chase, man, without Burrow, I mean, I'm not as excited.
It can't be.
Nah, I mean, Chris Olave, I think he tweaked himself last week, so we'll see what that looks like. And you said it. I mean, you got Chuba Hubbard in the flex, man. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough, and I mean, looking at his lineup, I mean, it's probably the best play. I think I'd still be going out to free agency and trying something else.
Well, I like the Jaden Reed pickup, man.
Yeah, I do like the Jaden Reed pickup, and I think that's probably exactly where I would be going if I'm staying within the lineup.
Yeah.
I like the Jags D against that Cincinnati team. Like you said, they were pretty timid, and then going on the road, and the Jags are a formidable team, and especially where we're at in the AFC, they're playing for playoff positioning here. Steelers coach, I think, is a little is iffy just because of their limited scoring potential, even against Arizona. When I look at the other side, I think the GAFF is in for a bounce back. Losers of two straight to the ARGO and appease the gods. Definitely not loving it. They were at 7-3, 7-5. Definitely not as sexy.
Right.
And there's some revenge here. Week 5, they lost. They put up 134 and lost by 20 points to the Skulls. And that's about where the wheels fell. I mean, the Skulls were not like, things fell apart around them.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts showed massive, what we saw from him in that game against Buffalo, really exciting. And I think him and AJ are going to have to factor if they're going to be productive in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs is potentially in for a little bit more work. David Montgomery may be nursing a foot injury.
Yeah.
And we saw Charbonnet is no Kenneth Walker the third. So I think if I'm him, that's probably the position I'm most worried about. That's just not where it's at.
Yeah.
CD is lights out. Trey McBride, I think, is probably the right call here if he can go. And DK, again, if Seattle's going to be competitive with Dallas, they're going to have to put up some points.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Jets D, but hey, they can get it going in Atlanta.
Yeah.
GAFF will be happy. And again, I think the Lions are in for a win. I think that the GAFF actually leaves no doubt this week. I think that he strings it together, and I think he does that in spite of a lack of production. I think he's stud. I think Jalen, I think AJ, and I think CD, and I think DK have all potential to go big here. I've got the GAFF, again, leave no doubt performance, 144 to the Skulls, 130.
Okay, man. No, you got a great prestige matchup of the week, man. We're here. I'm going the other way, man. I like Jared Goff at New Orleans against that defense. I think that the running game will present opportunities for Jarrett to throw touchdowns in the red zone. I think that could get the Skulls a nice score from that quarterback position. It may not be a Josh Allen kind of line, but if he can replace at least 20, gives him about 20 points of that production with replacement production, I think that's a good week for Jarrett. I like Ramondre against that LA Charger run defense. They actually look pretty stout against the Ravens, but week in and week out, they are a very, very weak run defense, and I think that the Patriots are going to try to exploit that, and Ramondre's been running very well the last couple of weeks. Love Rashad White against that horrible Carolina defense and team. Jamar Chase is going to be interesting. I expect the Jags to get up in that matchup, and I think that the Bengals will be playing from behind, and Jamar Chase can get some garbage time play. Chris Olave is going to be the real question for me. Cade Otton has been a nice revelation. Don't like the Chuba Hubbard play, but hey, when you don't have many choices, you don't have many choices, and he does get a lot of carries. On the Gaff side, I mean, it probably is crazy for me to call an upset looking at this matchup, but I gotta say it, man. So much of his matchup is going to be decided tomorrow, man. I mean, he's got 3 of his biggest plays, his running back and 2 of his top receivers playing on Thursday night. So I mean, things can pretty much crystallize from there. If he gets a slow Thursday night, he could be in trouble. Having to depend on Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown going up against probably the best defense they're going to play this season. I don't like that Jets defense against Atlanta. I think Atlanta's actually figuring out ways to score points, and the Jets defense and that team, I feel like, is starting to pack it in despite Aaron Rodgers practicing. I don't think that that's really going to bring anything to fruition. That Lions coach is kind of tied to Jared Goff, and the Lions, as good as they're doing, them losing at New Orleans would be so Detroit Lions. It wouldn't surprise me at all. At the end of the day, the Gaff has all the horses to leave, no doubt, to easily win this matchup. And if they get that boost very early on tomorrow night, hey, more power to them. But at the end of the day, I picked the Skulls to win the Omega Conference. They're here in position to do it after I left them for dead, and many else in the PPL did too. Let's ride the horse till it dies. I'm going to go with the Skulls winning the prestige matchup of the week, setting themselves up for an Omega Conference title. I got the Skulls getting this matchup 129 to the Gaff Attacks 126. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. We were back. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's time for us to get ready for those playoffs. Next week will be the last week of that regular season. Only 2 teams have clinched in the PPL so far. It's the Argonauts and the Boss, so we know we will see them in the winter. But for the rest of you guys, good luck. Have a good weekend, and may the odds be ever in your favor.